struggle, boss.
Lunch Money Lambert, Jeff Malott. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Yeah. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation, where we talk about fishing and competition. It's your boy Ox Pippin, aka Ox Fishing. Don't come over here tripping. Hey, hope you enjoy the show. Jeff Malott, Lunch Money Lambert, Lego. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Kayak Bass Nation. Hey, welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation. Welcome to the Kayak Bass Nation.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to KBN Live on a Wednesday, a special Wednesday edition, Ryan.
We didn't want to steal the election thunder, so we had to let that get over with. Bless you, Jeff.
Sneezing fit over here,
My
guys.
goodness gracious!
Wow. Okay, yeah, we didn't want to do that. I think we had one of these on a debate night, and it kind of messed everything up. So we thought,
it messed with my head bad. That's all I could think about were people debating nothing.
Yeah. Speaking of the election. It's in the books, man.
It is.
I tried to ignore all the news and everything last night, but I couldn't help it, and I turned on the one of my favorite YouTube channels where I didn't watch the news, but a streamer on Facebook or in YouTube, and watched the goings on until late into the night. Didn't get much sleep, and woke up to the good news that DJT. I
watched it till about midnight. I gave it till midnight. I was like, shit, I got to get up early and drive a couple hours for work in the morning. But I wanted to make sure I knew what direction it was going, because I've seen this happen about 4 years ago where I thought it was going a certain direction. And then I woke up to a surprise. But, I know that kind of stuff causes a lot of division. Everybody's got an opinion on it. I don't necessarily think there's a right or wrong opinion, but I think the way that things have been going, it was definitely, a needed change. I think hopefully we're all going to feel it in our wallets a little more, and maybe kayak fishing will explode again if we can turn the economy around.
That's right. Hey, we're not a political channel, so we don't get into a bunch of politics, but one of the coolest things I saw, and I actually posted it on our Twitter and Facebook account, is that I really feel like the election turned because of what I'm going to call the new media, which is podcasters. Trump used that to his advantage, went on all the big podcasts, and as a tiny little drip of water in a big ocean of podcasters, I think that was cool to see the legacy media kind of get kicked to the side with dudes with mics in their own little studios.
Well, I think the cool part about podcasts, even ours, the way it kind of started, they're not really controlled by anything. Like there's not an oversight HR department sitting in the corner of the podcast room. So I think you have a little more freedom on what you can get across there.
Yeah, so that's cool. I hope we see more of that in the future with all politicians, whether it's governors, presidents, senators, whatever, where they sit down for long form chats like that with different people, and you actually know what kind of people they are, instead of just getting little 20-minute teleprompter speeches on TV,
And fun fact, guys, we're not just sitting here talking about politics and election. We're trying to kill time. So AJ Mcwhorter is ready to come on the podcast. We discussed this last week with him, how it'd be cool to do something about the TOC, just trying to hype it up, get more eyes on it. And I guess we didn't communicate clearly enough that we were in fact going to do this tonight. So AJ is probably shaving his legs or something right now, trying to get ready to come on.
That's right. There's a little drama in the kayak fishing world, if you want to talk about that, over here on the Arkansas-Oklahoma border. Did you notice?
What's happening?
Know about any of that?
No, I don't.
Yeah. So, last week, week before, I don't know. Our boy Garrett Morgan, G Money,
heard of him?
Pancake and Waffles dad. he has kind of taken the reins of Bass Nation Arkansas.
Mhm.
So he's got Bass Nation Arkansas going. He is going to put together a series in conjunction with the clubs here next year. But this year, actually in 10 days from now, November 16th, he's having a quote open or whatever, not a championship because obviously there hasn't been any events, but an open, a qualifier for Fork, right? Well, the initial offering for that was to be the rules, which each state I guess can make their own rules, was to be you had to either be in an Arkansas club or have at least come fished in an Arkansas club to fish in that event.
Okay. So some sort of qualifier.
Yeah. Like you could be from Missouri or Oklahoma, but you'd have to have fished at least one event down here with somebody.
Seems fair.
Right.
Yeah. Kind of like, and that's kind of how Lone Star Throwdown is, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, Missouri, Tennessee, Louisiana, all the bordering states seem to not really care, except Oklahoma. My friends in Oklahoma, and really not the whole state of Oklahoma. Like one or two guys flipped their lid and got to posting about how egregious it was that they dare set up an event like that.
The boys on the res are getting mad out there.
Well, my boy Luck and all those guys, they weren't really too far. They were good with it. But this one guy, he was trying to big dog. I got into, of course, I hadn't been in one in a while, so I got involved in the thread over there when I saw Arkansas slander. I started commenting over there, and my guy said he owns a ride company, and he knows higher ups, and he's been talking to them.
Ooh!
So immediately I had to keep poking that guy a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Anyway, fun. It was hilarious to me the way it was going. I thought it was fine the way the event was set up, but long story short, my boy Garrett has throttled back, opened it up to all.
Oh wow!
So anybody can come now. It's not just Arkansas or Arkansas clubs. So there you go.
That does. What's the difference to the Oklahoma guys? Were they upset that they couldn't qualify through the Arkansas opener?
I think the Oklahoma guys had their own open either earlier this year, maybe in the spring. I don't know when they had it, but it was open to all. And they're like, "Hey, wait a minute! You guys came over here. Now we can't come over." You know?
So I get it. So because we did it this way, you have to do it my way too.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense.
Right,
yes.
right. So
some
guys were bad. Some guys didn't give two craps. I don't know. But it all worked out in the end. Everybody's holding hands, and it all worked out in the end.
Well, I'm sure. Where's the tournament at?
I don't know. No.
All right.
No. It sounds
like we're pretty invested.
No, it's on your favorite lake, Ryan. It's on Dardanelle.
Oh, you can have that one.
It's on Dardanelle. Ashley says that sounds too democratic to her. Actually, it was kind of socialist. They were trying to benefit off other people's work is what they were doing.
Drat.
You're getting too political tonight. I'm sorry.
What else have we got? What else have we got cooking out here? I saw somebody mention the Native Big Bass event. When is that?
Same day as that. Dardanelle Championship.
Okay.
Yeah, same day as the Dardanelle Championship. So some people saying trying to make Fork. I actually had that in the back of my mind about, hey, maybe that's a one-dayer as well. Which I like these one-dayers. Thought about going down for that. May run down to Dardanelle. I don't know. We'll see. Dardanelle's.
Do you want to meet me up by the lake we came from, whatever that was, Lake of the Ozarks, and
gotta go get your truck? What's the update on the truck, man?
Insurance said they're not going to total it. They're going to try to fix it. So they sent me a bunch of a list of parts that they were going to have ordered, and then they didn't put all the broken things on there. So back to the drawing board.
A message from AJ. He said he was having some trouble here joining our room.
Oh no!
Let me turn off my VPN. Maybe it's locking him out. I don't know.
You have a VPN?
Yeah.
Do you really?
Highly secure around here.
What kind of mess are you getting into, Ashley K? I need you to check his servers or something.
I don't want anybody hacking my monies.
I don't know what's going on. He's a gamer, I think. That's why you had the Twitch, wasn't it? You're a gamer. You've been out there streaming.
Damn it. You caught me, Ryan. Find me over on Twitch, Old School 2039. That's me over there.
Bassmaster Kayak Series on YouTube, a.k.a. Steve-O, says the Georgia Bass Nation Kayak Series Championship on Hartwell is next weekend. And he sent me a link, and now I remember opening that text message. Maybe it was last night. Maybe it was the night before. I guess I need to decide if I want to go throw brown jigs on docks for a day or two.
Steve is juggling his phone. He's got Steve Owens on Facebook, Bassmaster on YouTube. What a legend he is.
I know he's got his hands full of devices.
There, look here, Ryan. Look who it is.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah,
fresh calves and all. We ready? Oh,
here, man.
Let's do it.
There he is, the man, AJ. AJ, I was
surprise.
What's up, guys?
I blame Ryan somehow for all this.
I was like, "Did you send him the link?" And he's like, "Yeah, but no, no."
That explains the bad internet connection right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
He does hog the Wi-Fi when he's here, so it's lucky that he's out taking pictures of anglers when I'm trying to judge fish, because otherwise, it's just not enough bandwidth for both of us.
How's it going out there? How's the weather? But I mean, judging by the leaderboard, it looks like fall is not a bad time of year to be on Santee.
Man, today the anglers had a great day today. It was sunny, it was kind of hot, a little humid, but it was like kind of a little overcast too. So like it wasn't bright bluebird, kind of a perfect, like early June type of fishing day. But it's raining now, and it's going to rain until like sometime on Friday. You get that little flash flood warning that comes on your app. That's always comforting, lightning in the area, all the stuff. So it wouldn't be a tournament without some variables. And we've got some. So I think we're going to dodge some major wind. I shouldn't have said that out loud, especially on this lake. We're gonna get some rain, and it's gonna be one of those things. Well, I see Dusty's comment there. I mean, Dusty didn't have a bad day.
What happened, Dusty?
I can feel the emotion.
I'll send you a virtual hug, Dusty. Chin up. You got it.
Dusty's standards are really high. It's a 3-day tournament. He's the guy that can always bounce back from low moments. We've all seen it. There's quite a few anglers. The 3-day events are going to challenge our anglers. You can't get too high too early. You can't, if you're too low, you got to know that you can balance it out, especially on a lake like this where hundreds aren't uncommon.
Yeah. And you just said a key there, JJ. 3-day event. It's a 3-day event. I mean, what kind of, in a 2-day event, you get behind 10, 12 inches. You think, well, I'll just try to get some, I'll try to place tomorrow. I'll do the best I can. But you can get behind a fair amount over 3 days and still gain some ground. What do you think of the competitors here? Where's a cut line that you think people could still make up ground and win over 3 days? If you had a limit, are you still in the running? I mean, can you make up that much ground?
Well, yeah. I mean, because we've seen Bassmaster Elite Series events where guys have made the final day and didn't catch 5 fish, that this lake can be that way. If you catch 4 of the right ones, in our event where, 12 inchers still count, it might not be the same as, the restrictions here that they have to put them in the live well and weigh them. But, fish live here. A 23 incher, goes a long way in this thing. And there's bigger ones out here. A 24 inchers kind of like catching 2 12s. So, it's one of those things, and they do grow here. And, this weather, it really could fire them up. I mean, they're not fired up for some folks. But this thing going on, weather this time of year tends to get big fish chewing. So, we'll see what it does. It's not a huge front. It's not going to get like super cold when it pushes through, but it's definitely affecting the weather. And I would say, if you're above 80 inches, like you're well in this thing. If you have a limit, which was like 47 anglers, I think you're okay too. There's one guy that had 4 fish that's kind of above the last limit. John House, I think he had some really good ones. So he was up in there. I mean, I really think that like if you're in the low 70s, mid 70s, like you can play this thing out. Now you might not feel that way after tomorrow if you don't get certain amounts, but like that's the thing with an event like this is like there's a lot of variables there's big bass each day. So you got $500 and a Lowrance unit for every big bass that gets caught. Then you got AOY. You know, Dusty's had an awesome year. He's in the top of the AOY standing. So even if he makes a big comeback over 2 days, it's not just about him finishing, you know, maybe in the money of this event, but he could still do good enough with his points to get, you know, depending on where other people finish, where he wants to be, you know, going home with some awesome prizes, maybe some money, things like that. So
and what's the points multiplier for AOY for this tournament?
Really, there's not one. It is at a 210 points instead of 200. Okay. It's still a 1 point decrement, but the difference is this event, it counts for everybody. There is no drop. You don't add this one, drop another one. So this event counts for everyone. But it is worth an additional 10 points over a regular open event. But the weight of this event is that everyone has to keep it in there.
Gotcha.
And I will say, you know, I don't do too much, but I will say that we've kind of kept our AOY race pretty much the same from year one. So
you're better than 40th place on the Elite Series next year. So Big Bass is doing great. we got jokes.
Some people that have been upset about that Big Bass check in the past. You wouldn't know anybody like that, would you, Ryan?
No, I got a couple of them things laying over here on the floor. I still can't get them to cash, though. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, no.
I mean, through the drive-through window. That's the problem.
Now you know.
There we go.
I remember fishing, man. It used to be really fun.
Yeah, man. I mean, all the rest of the grand champions in the series are here this weekend, but man, you know, we miss you.
I feel like the more Ryan and I talk about fishing on this podcast, the worse we get.
It drains it. It drains it right out of you. I'll tell you. Don't turn your hobby into a job.
Well, we're still here, by God.
We are.
We're still here doing
for the people.
For the people.
All three of us.
I know. That's what I was going to say. Is we've all retired from fishing.
Yeah. Every time AJ fishes, though, he gets a trophy. So
that is true. He has a much better record than the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Tourney X stats, I'm trying to balance them out from all those charity tournaments that I didn't fish at all for years. And, you know, those finishes really are hurting my Tourney X stats and my opportunities with potential sponsors, you know?
Yeah, you know.
My charity tournaments say Bassmaster on them. And it was those are all zeros across the board. So that's fantastic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
Just out donating.
Yeah. Let's get into a little bit of this day one of TOC, and then we can get into the series as a whole and what you expect coming up for the TOC and the series. But, you know, familiar names in the top 10 here, man. We got Jody Queen leading the pack, you know, former grand champion. Looks like he was on him 5+4 in his limit, almost a 20-inch average, or it does have a 20-inch average, but four 20+ fish in his limit there. And then on down, you've got 11 90+ inch limits. I mean, big day one. You said the weather's coming in. How do you think that's going to play out over the next couple of days? You think that we're going to see big swings on the leaderboard, or are these guys going to kind of keep doing what they're doing here?
It'll be interesting. You know, from what I can tell, there's a wide range of bites going on. You know, with this lake, you've got a lot of docks, you've got a lot of cypress trees, you've got offshore grass, you've got channels, points, you've got all these different things. And I think some of those areas might be impacted more than others. Obviously, if you're kind of in a shallow area, water coming in, you know, that'll change that area. It's hard to know if it's going to be better or worse. You know, Jody spoke on it earlier when we had him on, you know, to kind of recap day one. He's like, you know, we don't know what this is going to do. We hope that it's going to do certain things, but you got to be ready to shift. If you go do what you need to do or what you wanted to do and it's not producing, you kind of got to have something different in your back pocket. So, you know, if it's cloudy tomorrow, it's raining, and you were throwing on cypress and docks and those fish aren't holding as close to cover as they used to when it was sunny, you got to figure out where they went. You got to figure something else out. I'm hopeful that we'll see some more bigger fish come in, some big limits, maybe some folks that had average days today get up in the mix. I think we're going to see a pretty big shakeup in this grouping. When you start looking at it, you get some really good big fish, but you also see some fish like Ewing had an awesome day, but he has a 15 and a quarter. So if he doesn't hit those bigger fish, like maybe tomorrow he just has 15 to 17s.
Yeah, Sadiki's got a 14 and a half on his stringer. So obviously, the big fish are getting caught, but it's not like it's just big fish that are getting caught.
Right. Good night. Look at that.
My,
thing.
what a humpback.
That's big into the day right there, Ryan.
What in the world is wrong with that thing?
Philip Wyatt drove all the way to Santee to catch a Arkansas inbred bass there.
Philip, Texas guy, came to Santee, caught a big one, but he edged out Ryan Matlovich, who came down from PA. Northeastern guy came down and had that 23 and a quarter that was caught this morning. So it's kind of cool. Obviously there's some South Carolina guys, some Carolina guys in the event, but guys from pretty far outside of the region caught the two biggest fish of the day. So it's always
that one's got that Texas tail trim on it, don't
it? Yeah. This one's got a normal shaped body at least.
It does.
You should get a bonus quarter inch for that. I don't know.
He should have stepped on it. Imagine how long that other fish would be if it wasn't all bowed up like that.
It had a straight spine.
If it grows right.
Yeah. And AJ, I always butcher Ryan's name. By the way, I think it's actually Metellowitz.
Really?
Yeah, ask Hooked on Phonics Jeff over here to read us some names.
I've mispronounced everybody's name on. I think I've mispronounced Bob's name before somehow. So.
Bob Baller.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, sorry, AJ.
It's all right, man. I get it. I understand. I had one of those last names that people struggle with too. So it's a challenge out here sometimes, But it's always good when someone's saying your name for something.
Hey, look at this. Look at Matt. Look at Ryan helping us out.
Okay, all right.
Matt Olevich.
All right.
Olevich. Thanks.
You were wrong again, Jeff.
I know. I knew I was. I was just giving AJ some help.
Oh my gosh. Well, appreciate you helping out there.
Yeah.
Do you think Jody's going to be the first repeat grand champion?
Well, I mean, he's put himself in a decent little spot to have that opportunity, but Brian Nelly's not too far back. Christine's not too far back. Those are people that, and even Brady, last year's champion, he hasn't been able to fish as much as he would have liked this year, but he's a hammer and he's been, really motivated on this tournament. It's kind of been his focus all year, knowing this is one of the few events that he was going to fish. And so, it's hard, it's hard, you've been there, Ryan. I mean, it's a challenging.
I don't even remember.
Hey man, you did it. We were there.
Yeah.
So it's a challenging thing. You've got the best anglers in the series, the most at the stake, and it's just, but Jody's a champion. He's won at all levels of this sport, all the different things. His mindset's right. That's a big battle, especially with 3 days. If you can have the right mindset and your fish are still, playing the game, anything can happen. The crazy thing is with Russ really back today. Now I don't expect that every day. Christine back and Ewing kind of back a little bit. AOY, that's a whole different thing. And so Jody, he's in a position where, he could potentially go grand champion and get in the AOY hunt. But that's kind of what we created the AOY structure for, is that you have to do it against everybody else in this arena. And, you can stack your points to get here. And Russ has done that this year better than just about any. I mean, Ewing and his brother had awesome years before, in the last couple, but Russ is not really, left much. I mean, he missed out on 3 points for the season.
Left those for the kids.
So, it's a tough task. I mean, there's some numbers there, but we've all watched Russ. I mean, Russ finds them and he gets on them, and so we'll see how it goes. But Luke Arians right in the mix. Dusty's right there. Garrett Morgan, sleeper. He fished the first 3 events, or 3 of the first 4 events. didn't fish all season. Now he's come out here and he's banging on them day one also. He's on some good fish. So the cool thing about the top, 20 anglers is everybody's got one or two of those giant fish. If you get on a few of those, more in a day, it can really kind of start stacking up in those total inches. And that's what we want to see, man. Make it exciting and create some storylines. And, I'm sure Russ is going to battle back. I'm sure Christine's going to get up there. There's plenty of anglers that we're not talking about that are like, talk about me tomorrow. So, and that's going to be the interesting thing. But tomorrow's going to be a grind. If it rains tomorrow, like they're saying it will, and like if this rain all night just keeps happening, it's going to be one of those days where your alarm goes off and you're like, ugh. All right, got to go do this today. And then it's just all day getting beat down with rain, adjusting to conditions. Everything that you have is soaked. Luckily, it's not going to be cold here. It's still going to be like in the low 80s probably. So that helps it a little bit. But tomorrow's going to be one of those days where people get, you can separate from the pack if you can keep your mind right, keep your fish right, keep them pinned and get good pictures.
We got Todd Patrick giving us updates in the comments. He says Eric Siddiqui says tomorrow's a big day to make moves. It's moving day tomorrow.
Todd, we depend on you for a lot. Hurricane coverage, calling the election. What are you calling on the TOC? Who are you picking to win it?
Yeah, he said he'll take Trump for the win. That's what he said.
Well, but I didn't know he was in. I didn't know he qualified this year.
Yeah, I've got my sleeper pick, Ryan. You want to know what it is?
I do.
To climb this ladder, he's in a pretty good spot. My man, Gilbert.
Your man, Gilbert.
Gilbert. Remember Gilbert? We had him on the pod for winning
I do.
Up north there. I like Gilbert. Interesting young man. So I'm hoping Gilbert comes out of nowhere in the next 2 days.
Honestly, I have a hard time with Jody on fish, on Santee, and Jody's cool as a cucumber, man. I have a hard time. I have a hard time thinking that if he has found, one of those magic areas, and if you haven't fished Santee, there are some areas of that lake that for some reason just like big fish just love to hang around. If he has found one of those little pockets, I would say Jody will be hard to shake.
Yeah. I wonder if Abby is fishing nearby him. That's been a little bit of a pattern. Abby's in this too.
I just caught that. I was like, what? I got it.
You know what I mean? I mean, they've been
yeah, no, for sure.
A few tournaments, they've both done really, really well in kind of shared areas within a couple hundred yards. So I wonder, with this being the TOC, looks like Abby's had a good limit today. If they would, how would that work? If they would defer away, back off from that area with him being way up there like that at 100 inches, I don't know. I don't even.
Todd picks Ryan. Todd picks Ryan. By the way, put that down.
Here we go, Ryan Matalivitz.
Yep, we got it.
Livich, yes.
But the thing about Santee, like in some of those areas, especially, you can be fishing 20 yards from somebody and not even be able to see them. Like those cypress trees are so thick when you get back in the woods and stuff, man. Like you could fish somebody around somebody all day and hardly even see them.
Yeah, be interesting. I love these 3-day events, man. That's a whole one extra. You think 1 extra day. What's the big deal? 2 days, 3 days. It's a huge deal.
Well, yeah, when you run out of fish is when you realize what the big deal the third day is.
Yeah,
after you've beat on them a little bit in practice, hammered them for 2 days in the tournament.
Yeah, what kind of stories have you heard, AJ, since you guys have moved to this with fish management being a problem for some anglers? I'm sure you hear stories on the back end about they wish they would have done something a little different or not hit them so hard this day. Do you see that happening with folks not managing fish right over 3 days?
The funny thing about hearing fish stories is if you didn't catch them or had issues, I don't get to talk to you on the awards, so I don't hear. But we have anglers that struggle to manage fish for practice for day one of a tournament. It's literally one of the hardest things in fishing is to go fishing and not catch the fish that you want to catch tomorrow. And so it is a challenging thing. I'm horrible at it. I love to catch fish the day before a tournament. And it's just once you're out there though, and you kind of get a feel for how tournaments going, it's really hard. Steve ran past an angler today and they were like, hey, I think we're not going to fish anymore today. And it was early, but they had put up a good limit, low 90s. And then they started seeing all the other 90s and it work. And they went up with everybody else too. So, it's one of those things that like, managing a situation it's ever evolving. Tomorrow, if 90 inches is kind of the money target to get to, and people are fighting in that mid 80s range, you might feel like you need to go get that total and then go somewhere else to see, hey, I got to find something completely different for tomorrow, because I got to do better than what I did today if I want to make it into the money tomorrow. So it's a moving target. And I think it's just challenging, because, you're not guaranteed, the next day for what the fishing is going to be. You think, and we're limited with how mobile we are as anglers on the water, even with motors, even with being able to go back to the ramp and drive to another place, it does affect your mobility and your ability to go here, there, and just go to a spot, make 10 casts, and then run another 20 minutes and make 10 casts like people can do, in bass boats. It's just different. So you really got to kind of dial it in a little better and hope that it sticks and fish confidently within that. But haven't heard too many stories, but there are the people that won practice, like Blake said. I mean, there's a lot of PBs caught in practice. When you come to a place like Santee, man, there are PBs every day. That is the cool thing about
and you want to fish too. Like when you go to Santee, like as soon as you see it, you're like, oh shit, I got to get on the water. Like you want as many casts in there. I don't know what the Gators are doing now, but when we get, when we went in the spring, like during mating season, it's like Jurassic Park out there. Like you want to be out there in that all the time. So I think that may help people not be able to lay off in practice.
Yeah. And I mean, everybody takes a different mindset, and you never know what someone's coming from either. Like maybe they haven't fished in 2 months and they need to set some hooks and they need to feel something just to get the confidence that they need to then compete for 3 days. Sometimes setting those hooks and knowing what was on the other line helps build that confidence and get you prepared for what you really need to do.
And I think, going out and sticking a couple big ones in practice, like at least you know what the big fish are eating. Like you can, you could just go in there blind and maybe you're throwing a glide bait and the big ones aren't hitting a glide bait. Like you gotta, I think you have to dabble with it a little bit. But I think it's to each his own where you draw that line. Do you want to go out there and bust 5 big ones the day or two before the tournament, or give it a break and try to save a little juice? But another thing on these multi-day tournaments especially is people moving around. Like, your A spot could be somebody else's B spot, that you might not have had them in there on day 1, but on day 2, suddenly things have shuffled around for them and now there's company. So I think that's another factor to throw in there.
Definitely. And, people think just because they're in a certain spot at a certain moment that they should be catered to, but you just got to be respectful of each other and talk and communicate. But, if just because you're 10 spots ahead of me on day 1 doesn't mean that I can't be 10 spots ahead of you after day 2. I think day 3 is when you kind of know where people sit and who has that real opportunity. But, day 1 and day 2 are those are, like they said, those are moving days. You pretty much do what you can do on those first 2 days to put yourself in a striking distance on day 3, and, paying 15 places in a 65 angler field. That's going to be attainable for probably, 30 people or so, depending on how it goes.
Dusty. Oh man.
Dusty.
If you launch first, you got to leave a little sign telling people to leave. Put some caution tape or something around there.
Put some tacks on the ramp, or cut a fender and put it in your tire like Abby does, or whatever he likes to do.
BOS is all about sportsmanship. We don't, those aren't.
Don't condone any of those
that's what I meant.
Don't do any of that. Jeez. Yeah. We've got some questions for you, AJ. Ryan and I have been starring them up as we go. This is, I don't know if anyone knows the answer to this. Matt Collins from Colorado. How many kayaks has Marshall destroyed this week so far?
AJ would know if anybody, would know.
Man, I think he's been working on motors this week.
He has. He went and bought one last week, I think. And he drove down. He was sending us videos of rebuilding one of the larger Newports. I think it was Sunday, actually. He was doing that.
Hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, that's just normal stuff.
Give him a minute, though. Give him a minute. There's a lot of stumps and trees out there. Give him a minute. It's the first day. He'll get there. I'd say it'll be a dramatic, some sort of flipping, sinking, yelling bullshit incident on day 3. He'll go big. I'm picturing like Dukes of Hazzard, kayak upside down. He'll get it. He'll get there.
The kid drove up here to Missouri with just his motor, no pedal drive, and Ryan had to go get him. So I don't know what he's going to do if he breaks down at Santee Cooper.
My motor's not working. Where are your pedals? Oh, hell, I didn't bring my drive. Yeah, that's what I do with that hole in the center of the hull there is not put a drive in it. Whew, I tell you what, boy.
Crazy.
He'll wear you out.
Let's see here. Todd Patrick asking a question for you, AJ. This is not TOC related, but when is next year's schedule coming out? I'm fresh in here tonight. I don't know what that part means, but
I think that is the question that we need to ask.
Todd feeling fresh.
What do you mean you're fresh in here tonight?
I hope he's wearing like a velour jumpsuit or something. I hope that's what it means.
Yeah,
man. So this week, in the past, we've released the schedule at the TOC. This week's all about this event and these anglers and showcasing what's going down on Santee Cooper. We have been working on a schedule where, with the attendance for our series being down this year, we were starting to look at like, what do we want to do next year? I mean, right now, us and Bassmaster are doing the same type of, thing. We do a few things different, but not that different. And they're killing it, man. Steve-O and Bassmaster are having an awesome year. And so we have been able to, with our series, we've been able to shift. I mean, it was a 1 day. We've had satellite events. We've had 6 2-day events. We can shift as needed. And we're trying to get a little clarity within the company of how we want to shift for next year before we go any further. So as soon as we have a schedule, or as soon as we have a plan for next year, we'll make sure we let you all know. We love to do that kind of stuff, but we've been working. We got some good places, hopefully lined up, and as soon as we can share details for next year with y'all, we will.
Cool.
I'm going to throw this out there. Think about maybe incorporating like paintball with it. Like if you get shot 3 times on the water, you're out. It doesn't matter how many inches you have. That way it adds in, kind of a little mystery, also a distance type of deal. I'm just putting it out there.
As the original Elite Series for us kayak anglers, I don't think the BOS wants to go XFL quite yet.
Oh, man, come on. What about lingerie fishing league? Like what if...
Yes, I'm going to switch spots with Steve. I'm trying to get in that media, but man.
Maybe that's what Todd meant by being fresh.
That's exactly where I was going. Gosh, I love it, Jeff. I love how simpatico we are.
Yeah. Hive
Scotch threw out a good idea. Team tournaments.
There we go. Team
That'd be fun. Fun little twist.
I mean, they already do it, so make it official. Let's do it. No.
Damn.
There is.
What about the KFL?
What
KFL,
is today?
Or the
Wednesday?
KBT. Yeah, KBT. We were talking.
There is a KBT. Congrats to, was it North Carolina? The North Carolina heel lunkers took it all on Caddo.
We're going to have them on and talk to them about it. They went down to Caddo and took care of business. So congrats. KBT, man, that they took that team series from a couple years ago during the pandemic and have like gone off the radar with it, but they're still over there kind of grinding, doing their thing. You don't see as much on social media.
Well, I didn't know that they were having a championship or anything down there. And then we got our DM message there about the update on the championship. And I was like, all right. It went from extremely over promoted to slightly under promoted. So we're going to find some balance there though.
Yeah, straight up. Those guys, good stuff.
Yeah. And we have a lot of ideas, and we've been talking to anglers, and there's definitely some things that we could incorporate to make it a little more fun again. I mean, that's really what this series is about, is getting people together and having fun. And there's some money and some opportunities within that. But we'll see how it shakes out, and as soon as we can, we'll let you know.
There we go. I like it, AJ. I mean, and you said it already, but there's a definite. Damn.
Todd, I am so glad you're on here tonight because I was like, how are we going to talk about day one for an entire hour? But you have brought so much extracurricular entertainment here. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, Todd. Straight out of Ohio, just like our new vice president. We're going to weave it all in tonight. I was going to bring up Coach Cal tonight, AJ, because before we went live, Arkansas was struggling with Lipscomb, which is what you and Jay warned me about. But
Yeah.
we're pulling away now. We're pulling away now. We'll see how it finishes.
AJ, yeah,
And they're freshmen. You know, we're built for March. You just, yeah, you know, I can just run through all the Cal liners, man. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to recruit great. But you know, y'all can have him, and we're looking forward to that February matchup for sure.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy. That's funny.
brick by brick, baby, or whatever.
All right, back to the tournament. Matt Collins from Colorado. Has anyone ever hit 300 inches in 3 days?
I have not ever seen it. I mean, the TOCs that we've had in the past. I mean, Cato. Brian Nelly. I feel like he crushed it, but I don't think he was at 300. I mean, he had awesome days, but you know, there was just. I don't think so. I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, that's tough, man. It's tough to hit 200 in 2 days. So to keep that consistency for 3 and get 300, that'd be quite the feat. But it could happen.
And you know, when you look at 3-day tournaments and where they've been, there's not too many places that could even do that. So, like, you know, obviously Santee can, but we'll see. Caddo could, but it didn't. You know, Eufaula, you know, some years people say it could, but it didn't, you know. So
Wait a minute. Who said said Eufaula could get? Yeah, Dylan. Yeah,
Dylan's like, oh, best play. Yeah. No, I mean, I think before any of us were alive, Eufaula was.
I was gonna say, yeah, because David told him a story about 1983 down there when he got his first Phoenix.
I'm just saying, if he could have got that trench finished, he would have had 100 every day.
That is probably true. Technically, they finished the trench.
That was a 2-day tournament. They didn't get to fish in there.
Gosh.
No.
Before we're all extinct, we need to sit down and write a book. The history of kayak fishing.
Yeah.
I thought, didn't somebody else?
Don't say it.
No, a real one. A real one. Let's see. B-Nugs 11. B-Nugs 11. I like that. That's an interesting name, B-Nugs, on YouTube. I remember Dwayne saying that in Tourney X you'll be able to follow tournaments from within the app. Has that not happened yet? Have you heard anything about that, AJ?
I haven't. You know, where I hadn't fished for so long, I actually didn't even know how to get onto the app for about a year and a half. I'm still trying to figure that out. There's like new things that I don't know what they do yet.
It's true. You're on the back end on that dashboard. Yeah,
that's right. I don't know. I haven't heard there. I know that was something they were working on and wanted to do to just put more power within the app. But I'm kind of old school. I just go into I Google BOS or TOC and Tourney X pops up and I click it and it's right there. So that's kind of how I'm just programmed to do that way. Every time I get into the app, I have to log in again, which means I have to remember a password again. And it's just like,
yeah, that's a point I think I've brought up 8,000 times over the last 4 years.
Passwords are hard, man.
Well, I feel like I forget it every time and then end up having to change it again. And if it's not in like one of my 3 most common passwords, I'm never going to get it. I'm never going to. And it's all variations of like my daughter's name and her birthday. If it's not any of those 3, I'm cooked, baby. Mike, I see your comment. Yes, Wyatt Hammond did hammer them. I remember seeing that update on the KBT, and I was correct. It was the Tar Heel Lunkers. So look at me for trivia.
Is that what you call them? Tar Heel
Wyatt
Lunkers?
Hammond.
I have no idea, man. It was something about a heel and a lunker. I had that in there at least.
Oh, you call them the heel lunkers?
That's
Same thing.
What do you want, Jeff?
I'm with you. I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Wyatt Hammond's a big fish magnet, man. He put them on that day one down at Harris Chain this year. So
there you go.
That's a dude.
It's a good signee there for the lunkers, the heel lunkers. This is a hard-hitting question from, I assume, Steve Owens, Bassmaster Kayak Series. Who has the best chicken tenders in the area, Santee?
Well, so there we had a catered meal on Tuesday night. Here we like to treat our anglers to a couple meals when they're here for the TOC. A brand new business, The Grill, downtown Manning, South Carolina. A kayak angler actually fishes Queen City, fishes the local clubs here around Santee. Jeff, you'd like him. He's in an old town. And, him and his wife are managing the restaurant there. They've been open for a week. And I can speak for the chicken, and it's been pretty good.
There we go. Shout out to them. The grill.
Let me see your grill.
Zach Wilson says, check out Phantom Outdoors down there for tackle. All right, Zach. Good shout out. Any more questions for AJ regarding the TOC, the BOS in general? We've heard, AJ, you already mentioned maybe a format change, some additional things coming for the BOS next year. Ryan and I have talked about this all the time. We just got back from that Big Bass 250 on Lake of the Ozarks. You just talked about the TOC feeding everybody. How do we get more of I call it celebratory, but more of a social aspect to these events on your regular season events as opposed to the one-off opens and championships? Can it happen? Can we get back to the old days where we did that?
Man, it's a challenging thing. I think, one of the things that I went to earlier this year was one of those weekends where like 3 or 4 tournaments are all on the same weekend at the same place, and you can enter, and that's a cool thing for our sport. It doesn't make sense to people outside of our sport, but it's cool within our sport. But one of those tournaments was a 2-day tournament. I had just fished the 1-day tournament, but I was there, and all these anglers went back to the day one kind of recap of the 2-day tournament. And they were there celebrating and clapping for people that weren't even in their 2-day tournament. And I was like, man, this is like had that old school feel where people are, they've got food coming out. There's people are drinking and hanging out and having a good time, talking and laughing. And it was cool. And so like that kind of got some ideas going for me that I would love to incorporate into, future events. To kind of get rid of I feel like Friday nights before events, where they used to be the hangout opportunity, I feel like it's not good anymore for that. People have so much going on. They're tired, they're stressed, they're ready to go. But on Saturday night, even though there's still a second day, people feel like they can talk again. They feel like, all right, well, we both sucked it up today. Let's talk it up. Or, hey, I saw you over there. I didn't want to bother you. Things like that. You actually have something to talk about after a day on the water, and you can almost kind of relate and you feel comfortable sharing and communicating. Whereas maybe prior to that, you're just got a lot of nerves going. And so I wanted to kind of do something more on Saturday nights that were more fun, and even have some single day type competitions where you can kind of award something on after the first day and have a little bit of a ceremony, because, it's not just the no social on Friday night, but it's awarding people that fished their ass off and had an awesome tournament and won a bunch of money for a room of 11 people.
Yeah.
And that's tough too, because, you want the celebration, you want the excitement, and people are halfway home by then. You can't blame them for that. And I get that, because you've already committed so much time, but it just didn't used to be like that. I mean, we used to go have breakfast and watch the award ceremonies, the day after a tournament, even at times, or 2 a.m., award ceremonies, things like that. So
if you're running early.
That's right. It used to be a part of these events. And honestly, I mean, it takes just people just doing it, and influencers that are at events saying, hey, let's stick around for the awards. Well, instead of getting dinner, let's go to the awards and see it. It just takes people saying, let's do it. And then that creates, kind of that mob type mentality. Your friends are doing it, let's go. And it kind of brings it back to being fun, and it not just being about, did I do well or not? And I think that's one of the things that, as these events have gotten more expensive and more time and all of this stuff, it's all become about the fishing and the success, as opposed to all the other variables that we all used to really look forward to when we went to these events.
Yep. I think we grew it big and fast. Like, I think, outside of the large, what used to be just 1 or 2 open events a year, I think once it hit the series and the series, pumped and pumped and pumped, But I think with that, as the money went up, people took it a lot more serious, and you should. I mean, you're fishing for 10 grand, 15 grand, whatever it is that weekend. But I think that kind of cut into what used to be just more of kind of a relaxed, we're going to get out here and see, who puts up a 84-inch bag today. Like those days are gone, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're gone for the format and style that we have now. The rules, to your point, Ryan, the rules went heavy quick, and they needed to, because as the money went up, you kind of had to tighten some things up. And Steve-O and I talk about things all the time, as far as kind of trying to wrap our head, even though we are both kayak anglers, we want to wrap our head around the kayak angler mentality, because we want to continue to be as appealing to newcomers and those that have been doing it for a long time as well. And the rule questions, the can we do this questions. I mean, we joke, it's like kayak anglers almost want to be rebels. Like, we don't want to fit within any of these boxes, but we want to have the rewards of these boxes. And so it's this balance of, how do you have these strict events that people follow the rules for this ultimate prize, but still keep the fun in it, because it's still kayak fishing and you're still pulling it out of your truck and, sitting inside of a, 13-foot plastic boat for 8 hours. Like,
truck is not what I thought you were going to say. I was like, I cannot wait to see where this goes.
Yeah. So, it's, and everybody looks at and gets into kayak fishing differently. I got into kayak fishing because I wanted to float down rivers better than wading up them. And, then it just turned into, well, I mean, we got river tournaments, and okay, well, let's go fish the lake. And then it just turned into more. But, you see a lot of different types of kayak anglers still represented, but I don't think the current tournament structure represents all types of kayak anglers as well as maybe it used to.
Agreed.
Very true. Yeah,
Agreed.
true.
And as the rules continue to evolve, I think we cut out some of the pieces that made kayak fishing in the first place, but I think there were so many gray area type things that happened. It had to be like, okay, all right, like there has to be a line somewhere. And I think we're all still kind of learning and figuring out where that correct spot for the line is. But, what can you do? We got the ball rolling now.
Yeah, and there's always going to be, new events pop up. And, I think the last couple of years, the native Power Hour tournaments have done really well. I haven't got to fish in one, but I've participated, in the award ceremony of one. And I just really enjoyed the vibe, and like the type of event that was, brought in different types of anglers. And so I think they do a really good job offering a niche in our sport that's extremely popular in the bass boat side. Like those big bass, the Sealy big bass, those type of events, they're the largest tournaments that exist in bass fishing. Oh, yeah. They don't get as much publicity because they're not on TV and things like that. But I mean, you go to one of those events at like Sam Rayburn or something like that, and there are people that just stand in front of the weigh-in stage all day to see the bass that are weighed in every hour. And it's crazy, but they've created an incredible platform. And I think there's some potential for more of that in kayak fishing. I think the catch, photo, release system allows that style of fishing to actually be more efficient and smarter. You don't have to spend, do I want to drive 30 minutes back to the weigh-in and see if my 4-incher or 4-pounder is gonna work?
4-incher. It's all in hell. Never mind.
All right.
Yeah. So, I think there's some opportunities there, and we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we see some comments here. Elvis Lee said the Kayak Venture Series. That's another series that's doing things a little bit different with the award ceremonies and things like that. So I think it's good that everybody is not in the same box, running the same format. because like you said, AJ, we can't have 6 different 7-event series with AOI points. We just, there's not enough anglers to go around to do all that. Right.
Right. Well, and just like, MLF and the BPT and all that, they tried to do some things different, and, it didn't go the way they maybe thought it would. But they learned from it, and it kind of made bass be better in some ways. And I think, you got other organizations that have helped, by doing things a little bit differently, maybe having some rules that are different, allow people that, want to fish a certain way to still have a place to compete and do their thing. And I think, we're still evolving so much within our sport that there's still room for those type of things to happen. I think one of the things that I struggle with in our sport is that I think that $75 to $150 range of tournament just doesn't really exist at the level that I think it could and should. That middle road is where so much of the bass boat segment, operates, and we're not really cultivating that region of payment and style, a single day event that's close to a lot of people. Like, that just doesn't happen as much. You've got great grassroots and local clubs, and then you've got these high end things, but the in between is something I hope that we can grow a little bit in the coming years.
Yeah, and it's funny, even the local events seem to have gone away from getting together at the end of the events. That everything's virtual. Only a few people come back to the way. So I hope even at the grassroots level, we can get people showing up. Todd Patrick, KBBT. I think there's potential to bring it back nationally. That was a rose like a phoenix during the pandemic. Todd, Conrad Benetti and the memes. It was great while it lasted, but I don't know. I don't know if there's it can do it again. What do you think, Ryan?
I think we should start doing live cockfighting at the events.
Okay. On kayaks? Or
Yep.
Okay.
That's part of it. That's the risk you take there.
All right. Brandon Hall, this isn't a question, but a comment for you, AJ. We appreciate you and the team for a wonderful series. Thank you for all your hard work for the anglers this year. So there you go. Tip of the cap.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a Mount Rushmore of TDs, man, it's you, Steve, Duke Tran, probably Vinny, a couple more I could probably shout out. But you guys, unbelievable work you've done to make this sport what it is over the last decade. Amazing.
Thanks.
Well, I appreciate that, but you guys give the anglers and the tournament directors a platform for us to reach more, and really just appreciate you guys and your audience for all the support and the promotion of the anglers and the directors, for the events that are upcoming and the ones that have passed. So, we do the day work of the event, but you guys really, market it and promote it and showcase it. And we appreciate that from you all.
We have to contribute something. That's about all we got. That and entry fees.
Memes. We've got the memes.
Sorry, Steve-O wants to change it to rooster fighting. So apparently we don't get to do what I want to do.
That's Saturday night rooster fighting.
Saturday night rooster fighting.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. There was one more comment. This was from way earlier. We don't have to answer this specific question, but I think, AJ, you could speak to the industry as a whole, fishing or kayak fishing, whatever. Chris asked right at the beginning of the show, what do y'all think about motor guides shutting down? And I know there's been some headwinds in the industry in general, whether it's kayak fishing or just fishing in general, right? With some consolidation going on, some economy crunch going on. What's going on out there, AJ? Do you have any thoughts on that in particular? Or just the industry as a whole?
One specifically, I think, depending on what you knew coming into this year, depends on how you look at that particular announcement. And a motor guide had already been purchased long ago by the Navico and the company that runs Simrad and Lowrance and all of that. So they were already within that group. The way Lowrance and that group looked at that is, hey, we have power in the Lowrance name. We are making the Lowrance motor. So we're the same company making two different brands of motor. But we want people to say, I want a Lowrance, and that means that they want a Lowrance motor, Lowrance depth finder, a Lowrance active target. So they made that decision to be more brand inclusive. But what happened there is what we're seeing in a lot of different segments of the fishing industry, where a larger organization that has multiple brands is buying up other brands. And I think that's just kind of happening a lot in business in general right now. I think, the economy and recreation, where it went really high for a while, it's kind of dripping down a little bit, and it hasn't really leveled back up to where we had brought it before COVID. So, there's a lot of people watching this show that have seen one of their local tackle stores or, a brand here, a brand there get, acquired or go out of business or things like that. I think that's not an uncommon thing that we're going to kind of see for just a little bit within this industry, as so much has changed, as so much has gone up really fast and then gone down really fast as well. But the motor guide thing, I mean, the Lowrance guys and their team, they're excited about that because, they get to put that name on motors, and it kind of connect with, their electronics, which is kind of their whole thing. Like, we want them working together, talking together. I run Lowrance on my boat. It's not, I run a motor guide and I run a Lowrance and I run this. They want that name to kind of encompass all the different segments of electronics that somebody would put on their boat.
See, Ryan, that's why AJ is such a pro, because if you would ask me that question directly, I would have said, yeah, man, that's crazy, and just moved on. See, he's got the juice, man.
That's why you're the one that asks the questions and not the one people ask questions to.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah, that's awesome. Unbelievable. So there you go, Chris. There you have it. We're up against the hour. We don't want to keep you too long, AJ. I know you got business to attend to during the this busy week for you. I can't believe you took the time to do this with us. So we appreciate it.
I got nothing going on. I mean, just
even though we weren't really you weren't really sure we were going to have you on tonight, because our PR department didn't make it clear to you. I apologize.
I'm just glad.
I wish we were all in a group chat or something where we could communicate with all of our eyeballs.
That's my fault. There's too many election memes that interfered with everything.
It's been a wild week over there.
Quick update. Arkansas is up 10 on Lipscomb with 4 minutes to go, AJ.
Okay. Might even cover the spread, maybe.
Might even cover the spread. I don't know. I'm just hoping we don't lose, so you guys don't message me any kind of hate messages later.
We're just happy. We're just happy that you took him from us and we didn't have to buy him out.
What is Todd saying here? The Hobie Bass Region Series, 4 one-day events. Like, he came up with a plan. Look at this.
Stop, Jeff. We're ending the show. So
well, I mean,
don't
Todd,
feed into this.
Todd, send this, DM me this. I'll get this up to our people. Run this up the totem pole. See what happens. Hobie Saltwater Series. There we go. Yeah. Awesome show, everybody. Appreciate you jumping on a Wednesday. I know it's weird for us to be here on a Wednesday, but here we were. And AJ, you're one of the goats, one of the made men on the show. You've been on here a bunch. We appreciate you taking the time, as always, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys. Want to thank everybody that has participated in BOS events just over the years, even back into the single Kentucky Lake event, the Hobie Bass Open and Fun Fest. We just need to bring Fun Fest back is what we really
need. That was so much fun, too. Those were the glory days back then.
You loved Kentucky Lake. You do.
I did then. I did love Kentucky Lake then. Like, you'd have to fight me not to go to Kentucky Lake.
But, you guys, in all your coverage and promotion, I mean, when this series started, you guys were really helping us get the word out. And you've continued that over the years, not just for our series, but for others as well. Just appreciate everybody for supporting what we do here. We run the BOS. Steve and I do for the anglers, for the opportunity. And so somebody has the opportunity to go home with $25,000 on Friday. They earn the right to be here, and then they got to compete with the best for one of the biggest checks, if not the biggest check in kayak fishing this year. So thank you all. Appreciate it. Always happy to come on and cut it up with you guys, and go Cats.
We'll pick.
Thanks for coming on, man. Go crown a new champ, new grand champ. We'll see if it's like I feel like and a repeat, or if we've got some new blood.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. Thank you guys.
See ya.
See y'all next week.